And it's from this that we go to my friend Kurt Schlichter. I have to say, and everybody knows Kurt Schlichter, he's got stuff in Town Hall. You see him on Fox. We've known each other for over a decade. And I have to say congratulations on having the #1 bestseller in political fiction, one of the top books online right now, top books on Amazon, which I think is actually more valuable than the New York Times because they don't weight them against where they're sold, et cetera, and kind of who you are. But the book is The Split. It is the 6th in your best-selling political thriller fiction, and boy, oh boy, is this so apropos right now because it really gets into. I mean, it's inspired by current era.
It is. It's the conceit is that America is split into red and blue countries. The red country is centered in Texas and embodies a lot of the things that we talk about. It's not perfect. I don't sugarcoat things. But the blue is like California times a faculty lounge times 100, and it's crazy. And the hero goes in and he brings his Wilson combat pistol, and there's shooting and there's mocking of liberals, and people are giving each other their pronouns, and it's this wild, humorous, action-packed ride. Kind of what I wanted to read. When I did the first one, People's Republic, it's back there. I just said, look, I want to write something I want to read. And I was inspired by our mutual friend, Andrew Breitbart. And he said, politics is downstream from culture. We've got to be in the culture game, Dana. And this is my attempt to do it. And it's been remarkably successful. I mean, I'm ahead of, a lot of these fiction writers.
Yeah, you are.
And it's on the Amazon charts. And it's really amazing. I do like to point out, in 60 hours, I sold more books than Brian Stelter, who has a nominal TV network, which caters to airport travel.
I think you also outsold Hunter Biden. You also outsold Hunter Biden, didn't you? Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. You would think with all the meth and cocaine, he'd be like rushed to get out there and sell his book. Apparently not. He's painting. Him and George Wood.
Yes, him. They are. They're painting.
We ought to have a gallery of failure. I love that idea. The gallery of failure. We'd have the picture of George Bush's pictures of the guys his incompetence mutilated, and we can have whatever the hell Hunter Biden's coming up with.
I think it's like bacteria.
He's mopped up on Bolivian marching powder, and that would be a major, amazing exposition.
I would actually probably go to that. In that context, I would completely go to that. We're talking to Kurt Schlichter.
The after party would be killer.
It would. It would definitely would.
Hunter's like, I'll take care of the catering.
Yeah, oh boy. Everybody. I'm going to stop making crazy jokes about this because I'm made of them right now. We're talking to my friend Kurt Schlichter. His latest book, The Split, which is tops right now, bestseller, and we were telling him congrats on that. Okay, so a couple of things. I know you watched the town hall last night. You were watching the town hall or at least you were kind of watching it. You were keeping up with it. Whenever something crazy comes up, you remark on it. What was your takeaway? I mean, did you walk away from that town hall more informed? Did you have any questions answered, or was it a continuation of partisanship?
I walked away a stupider person.
So it was a deficit. It took away.
I actually went negative. On a scale of 1 to 10, it was like -15. Look, the guy is. I don't want to be mean, but the guy is obviously senile, and somebody has to, say the emperor doesn't have new clothes on. He's going commando, man. Somebody's got to say it out loud. And I find it baffling. Perhaps they're so terrified of President Kamala. I mean, I'm terrified of President Kamala.
No.
That nobody wants to pull the trigger on the 25th Amendment. The guy isn't well. And of course, you had Don Lemon there too, who kicked me off CNN after I
remember that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Issues. It was just a festival of failure. I mean, there wasn't a hardball in sight. There wasn't a tough question.
Right.
It was just a chance for the world's biggest Matlock super fan to throw off the shawl, move aside the bowl of gruel for a minute, and stagger around the stage. I mean, it was actually painful.
And some of the answers that he gave, and there were a couple and I'll get to the when he was asked about the defunding, but I wanted to play this really quickly, audio soundbite 2, because this was some of the worst messaging that I've ever heard. Just me looking at this like a strategist. I'm thinking, why would you give your opposition $1 million audio right here and say that you're going to ban everything? Let's play this really quick for folks who missed it first hour, and then I'm going to have Kurt react to it.
Actually, crime is down. Gun violence and murder rates are up. Guns. I'm the only guy that ever got passed legislation when I was a senator to make sure we eliminated assault weapons. The idea you need a weapon that can have the ability to fire 20, 30, 40, 50, 120 shots from that weapon, whether it's a 9mm pistol or whether it's a rifle, is ridiculous. I'm continuing to push to eliminate the sale of those things, but I'm not
so he
likely
wants
to
to
get
ban,
that done in the near term. So
and as I was telling Kane earlier, my Glock, I'm not saying I wouldn't accept or purchase a 120 round magazine, but I don't really have that. But to me, Kurt, he just wants to. This is a call for a ban on all semi-auto, not just the quote unquote scary assault rifles, but handguns too.
It absolutely is. I'm not sure he knows that. I'm not sure he really knows anything. Look, they don't want us armed because an armed citizen is a citizen and not a serf. And I actually think it's an obligation for every American citizen to have the weapons necessary in an event it is necessary to deter or defend themselves, their family, their community, and their constitution. I think it's our obligation to have effective weapons, like what this guy would call an assault weapon. Frankly, I give everybody a military M4, like they do in Switzerland, like they do in Israel, because I think citizenship is important, and I think it is serious.
But those are government owned, though. Those are government owned, though. I will say that in those instances.
They are government owned, but they don't have to be.
I want to ask you, because you served, and just tell everybody, yes. do regular, average, everyday people, and do they carry what you carried when you served? No. And do you think gangbangers go out and...
In my case, when I would carry, for instance, a Beretta 92F or an M1911, yes, those are regular, but they're pistols. The M16s that I would carry, or M4s, those were actual military-grade weapons. They fired burst or full automatic. They are different from what we buy. I mean, you and I, how exhausted are we having to explain this to people who've never seen a gun and want to tell us about gun stuff?
Amen.
Put down your copy of Ibram Kendi, put away the debris glass, come on out to the range, let me teach you, let me help you step up and do your part to protect your society. It's just, look, I'm not a gun nut. A gun is a tool. A gun is, I grew up in a house with people from rural Pennsylvania. There were guns hanging on the wall. And there were, there were shovels and hoes and
you're a shovel nut.
Yeah. And it should be a natural part of life where every citizen has a personal role in protecting the community. I know this because I was in the LA riots with the Army for 3 weeks. I saw it. I got some argument with Josh Marshall of Talking Points Memo, who started trying to mock me. Society falls apart. I'm like, it literally does. Yeah. I've literally seen it. I've smelled the flames. I've seen the mobs. Yeah. It does. And you better be ready. And you have a duty to be ready. Just like I think everybody should know how to do CPR. Everybody should know how to do stop the bleeding. There's my car right over there in the back. I've got a quick clot. I've got blankets. I've got other things. I've got something I can make a tourniquet out in case I come across another fellow American or a visitor to our country who is injured in an accident. We need to look. Freedom and democracy are participant sports. We can't be observers. And I think this provides a concrete evidence of our commitment to our society, that we're willing to take off on protecting it, willing to help other people when it becomes dangerous. We have outsourced so much, and look what happens. We've outsourced all law enforcement to like the FBI, and they're a disaster.
Yeah.
We've outsourced, keeping order to the military, and it's
to that, let me ask you this question, because I know you've seen this as well. The story about Capitol Police and Democrats looking to maybe expand, which I don't understand. I mean, their jurisdictions in the capital, and they're not even subject to FOIA, as I understand it. Have offices in California and in Florida, or to have a department in California and Florida to start. To me, you should be able to rely upon your local police force. That's too much for me. That seems a little police statey.
We allegedly have an FBI, but apparently they're too busy knocking down doors of grandmothers in Alaska looking for Nancy Pelosi's laptop. I mean, you've got them going 24/7 on. Frankly, look, maybe I'm a riot snob because I was in a real one where a lot of people got killed and not just one unarmed vet shot for trespassing by mystery cop. But that wasn't a riot. That was a fracas on par with a particularly ugly playoff celebration. And it is to their political advantage to try and make it into the apocalypse. It is not, and we must continue to say so. I would like to see the FBI stop botching investigations of mass perverts who are molesting hundreds of girls. I would like to see them start taking seriously the tips of people who turn out to be mass shooters. I'd like to know what the hell happened in Las Vegas. I got a lot of questions about what they're doing with their time. It appears to be framing the enemies of their political patrons.
Well, that's one of the IG reports that came out.
Yeah, I'm about at the point where I'm defund the FBI, put them all on jaywalking duty, and then raise the building, sow the ground with salt, and put a museum to political freedom on it.
Oh, I like a museum to political freedom.
Yes.
We should have one, just a singular one. Like talking to our friend Kurt Schlichter, whose new book, The Split, is a bestseller, and we're congratulating him on that. Last quick question for you. This related to Cuba, obviously. I've known you and your wife I was telling everybody, I've known you and your beautiful wife, Irina, for a number of years. Your wife's family is from Cuba, and she has been just going full hog on Facebook, educating everybody as to what her family went through. When last we saw you, she was telling me that her grandfather had been imprisoned by Castro's regime. What is your take on all of this and your thoughts on how the Biden administration has responded to what is happening in the streets in Cuba?
Well, my wife literally escaped from Cuba as an infant, and they came here and they built a life, became American citizens. My father-in-law served in the United States military. I'm unbelievably proud of these Americans by choice. And I think, leave it to socialism, Dana. They took an island full of Cubans and made it poor.
Yeah.
Bravo. If you could do, man, is there nothing socialism can't do?
Right.
It's like a bizarro world miracle worker. It is, and we should be standing by the Cuban people. And look, I am not one. I have been part of interventions, military operations overseas. I am not eager to send people in. But, if I had the chance to put my uniform back on and take in a rifle, I would happily go clear that. Not simply to free the Cuban people, though that is enough. The fact is the Chinese would love to get a foothold there. In fact, the Split talks about that. And I think it is on our national interest to have a free Cuba right off our shores. And I look forward to that day. And, people say, why don't you travel to Cuba and see it? I will not set foot there unless I'm carrying a rifle or unless Cuba is free.
There you go. Amen. See, we had all these gun running operations and we ran guns to the wrong people. Imagine that. Kurt Schlichter. The book is The Split. I can't wait to read it. I fully admit it. I have not started it yet, but I have purchased it. I have purchased it, and I'm excited to read it. Congratulations on the success. So good to see you, and can't wait to talk with you again.
You're the best. Thank you, Dana.
Thanks, Kurt. God bless.